Welcome to College Focus, a program about your community college, St. Clair. I'm your host, Owen Klein. Our crew tonight is the same crew we're going to have every time, a group of people here from the college, students and staff. And what we're going to do is try over the next few weeks to tell you a little bit about the school, what we can do for you, and maybe later on you can let us know what you want to hear. But let's start off with Mr. Dan White, General Manager of the Industrial Resource Center, who's our guest tonight. Good evening, Dan.
How are you, Owen?
Good. You're over there in the east end of Windsor. We never see you. You're slaving away. What are you doing over there?
The staff over there say I'm always over here, so honestly, Owen, I'm not sure.
So you're in transit. Okay. When you're not in transit, what are you doing?
Well, we run a number of specialized programs, mainly after a lot of the industrial sector of Windsor that helps support the different types of things that they're doing.
What's the history there? Now, we were all out here. We had shops, we had apprentice programs, we have electrical shops upstairs. What's the history of this area?
Well, there was a group approximately 10 or 11 years ago of industry people that wanted the college to focus on certain technical aspects, and they wanted a center built within the Walker Industrial Park, which was close to home where most of these businesses are located.
So you work with them, they help you out at all, or what happens?
In many, many ways they help us. First of all, on advisory committees on what types of things need to be in programs. And secondly, we receive a fair bit of donation from them of equipment, used equipment and sometimes new equipment to work with the students.
Okay, well, we're an industrial town. People understand tool making. People understand the types of things you do. What are some of the specifics? What are some of the things that our audience can relate to here and that they might be interested in?
Well, programs such as the Industrial General Machinist, or Heating, Refrigeration, and Air Conditioning Technicians, or Stationary Engineering. Other programs like millwrights that come through the night school program, and a variety of different things that support that industry.
What is a millwright? In case there's someone out there who doesn't know what a millwright is, and where does that term come from?
The millwright term is as old as the hills, and it's misplaced. Really, a millwright in today's society does more machine repair or machine building, and that's really what they should be
Used to
called.
fix mills?
Well, originally, that's where they started out.
Oh, okay. Well,
But now that they're machine repairmen.
we don't do mills anymore.
There's very few
There's
mills
very
in the
few
city.
mills in the city, okay. What are some of the other things that there are in the city we work on, like tool shops?
Tool and die shops and mold making shops. There's a tremendous number. In fact, there's a captive group here in the Windsor area through the Windsor Alliance of Mold Makers that it's a real specialty. And these people are the best in the world at it.
Mold maker.
Mold makers. The molds that form the plastic pieces that are either in an automobile, a refrigerator, the tail light on a car, all comes from a mold.
And we teach that? We teach you how to make the mold, and
We teach the machining process that goes into the making of the mold, but it's a highly specialized industry.
was there a conference in Windsor not that long ago, an international conference of mold makers, or was I dreaming this?
No, the announcement was for one coming up in October of 1991, which the Windsor Group is going to sponsor and host.
And will you be involved with that at all?
Very, very much so.
Great. Well, what else have you got? You got mold makers, you got millwrights. Educate me. There must be something else I don't know.
Oh, there's an awful lot of stuff.
That I don't know? No, let's just work on this one.
Lots of things I don't know as well.
That's why they made you an administrator. Now let's go on with
They found out how much I could do in the classroom. Anyway, getting back to the things they have at the center. Stationary engineering has branched into another area called building maintenance, which is not the maintenance, the sweeping of the floors, but the mechanical portion of the building, the heating and cooling system that belongs to a building or a hospital or a large industry. And those people are wrongly named stationary engineers because they don't sit stationary. As well as monitoring, they're out there repairing it as well, and that's a new avenue for us. That started probably 9 years ago on this campus, the program itself, and through a tremendous amount of donations from the industry, we now have a plant that we train the people in the shop space at the Industrial Resource Center, and the students actually go out with their 4th class certificate or 3rd class certificate, which are the levels that they can work in the industry at.
Probably some of our people would like to know how to get into these programs.
In many, I would hope they would, yes.
Yes.
They can enter through the normal registration process through the registrar's office, or in some cases they can seek sponsorship through the Canada Employment Center.
How about retraining? Things are getting a little tough in Windsor in certain industries. People are being laid off. They're talking about job re-entry. Where do you fit in all of that?
We run a number of programs that are sponsored and funded through the Canada Employment Center. And they take care of the recruitment of the students to take that training. They help advise us along with the industry group on the types of things they would like to see in those programs, and take a person that may have been working in a production facility and is laid off now and bring them in so they can receive enough skill to go out and work in one of the shops where they can receive a trade certificate.
Is there anything similar to this anywhere else in Ontario or Canada, or is this something that's across the country, or is it just local?
No, it's something that started off originally in Hamilton. And I'm losing my voice.
Okay, well,
Excuse me.
We'll hunt around the set here for Dan's voice, and then, okay, we found it. The idea of technical training started in Hamilton. How long ago was that?
Well, probably 7-8 years ago, when they first started the first training center.
And this training center, exclusive of the college? Was it connected with the college? How did it set up?
No, they had an industrial group that took care of the training and was responsible for that training.
Very good. In working with the industrial groups, you mentioned advisory committees. Do you ever get into a situation where you sometimes, this may be controversial, but wonder about the advice you get?
And sometimes, many times, the advisory committees are looking for people that have probably 4 or 5 years experience in a person after 2 years of training. And it's an expectation, and I think a lot of industry people don't want to spend the time nor the money in training folks. And through working with advisory committees, we've been able to at least update them on what we can do, and they recognize and they accept what it is that the college can do that leads towards a person receiving accreditation in a certain trade.
Okay, and they give you this advice. We follow it at the college as best we can, providing them with that. Do we give you enough money to buy all the equipment you need? And
I don't think any program at the college or at any level of education receives enough money to do that. But that's where it's important to strike the partnerships with industry so you can do some of the training in industry as well as in school.
Good, and you're happy with those partnerships. In a little while we'll come back and we'll probably be talking about the future. But right now, is there anything about our present programs we haven't touched on?
Oh, probably lots we haven't touched on. The one area, the faculty that are involved with these programs are a dedicated lot, and I don't think we pay enough tribute to those folks. Not only are they out there finding out what industry is doing, but they're working with industry in many ways.
Where do they come from, our faculty in the IRC?
Most of the faculty at the Industrial Resource Center, in fact all of them, are from industry themselves, and then through some teacher training that we conduct through the summertime, pick up on their teaching accreditation and go on and do an excellent job.
What's tougher, doing the job or teaching it?
Oh, teaching it.
Would you,
Definitely.
Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah, after 8 years of teaching, by all means.
Okay.
I don't think you'll learn as much about a particular area until you go to teach it.
Oh, that's great. In a little while, we'll come back. We're going to have a public service announcement here, and we'll come back with some of the future plans for the IRC.
Some people think that a child is too young to have problems, but the Child's Place knows that a troubled child will often grow to be a troubled adult. For 15 years, the professionals at the Child's Place have been helping preschool children and their families gain the skills needed to develop and grow. After all, a child is supposed to get bigger, but their problems shouldn't. The Child's Place is a non-profit children's mental health center serving the communities of Windsor and Essex County.
Welcome back. I'd like you to know that public service announcement you just saw, produced here at the college by advertising students. We'll talk about those things later. Back to Dan White. Dan, we're going to talk about the future. What is your biggest challenge from today on?
Owen, finding the crystal ball to tell me.
Okay, we don't have it here. We're going to have to go on to my next question. Tell you what?
Well, the future holds many things, and one of the things the college has been attempting to do is get more involved with industrial training. And the one thing the college has asked me in particular to spearhead is putting together a special steering committee that would take a look at what it is that the Industrial Resource Center in particular can do for industry.
Does industry know where it wants to go?
Oh, in many cases I doubt it. It's a day-to-day operation.
You know, you read in the papers, you read in whatever journals that cross your desk the different directions we think we're going to be going in industry, the different directions we think we're going to be going in the trades and what's going to be big. And is there any consensus at all?
Not really. There's a lot of fear in the industry itself, especially during the time that we're in right now. I think their best guess, and the thing that we do very, very well with industry, is we make them think 2 and 3 years down the road when our graduates are going to be graduating. Like, what does a graduate need to possess in 2 or 3 years so that they're successful in that industry?
I've had to ask you right now what a graduate needs. What 2 or 3 things in the general industrial sector is your grad going to need? Is there anything that you can think of as a generic skill?
Well, more than anything, technical literacy is a very prime thing. Followed along with that with some computer skill.
Computer skills. Everything is going computers. Some things are going computers. What's the story?
A lot of things are going computer. I think the board was very, very wise in taking a look at the competencies that we have in programs and insisting there be some computer literacy in each program.
That's our Board of Governors here at the college?
Yep.
You like those competencies, they'll work for you.
I think they're things that we need to look at, especially when we're modifying or developing a new program.
So computer literacy, what does it mean to a tool maker? What does it mean to a mold maker? Some of the people we talked about in the last segment.
If anything, a person taking a look at where their career is going to head, and that's where I don't think enough people do personal research on what an occupation has in it. There's enough trade journals, there's enough information in newspapers, anywhere that you pick up a magazine and you read about it, it's what's the future going to hold. And I think if we took a look at that 5 years ago and realized that a lot of the equipment that the tool maker and the mold maker use on the shop floor today has a computer attached to it. And it just means that they can do that job more efficiently and boost production.
Well, that's going to make it a little tougher for a young man coming into the field, isn't it? It used to be that maybe if he or she were good with their hands, they could get into the field, and now it sounds like they're going to have to mess around with things like numbers and ideas. And
I think one of the biggest frustrations that a lot of people in the industry have is that's the misnomer. And the counseling that goes on with the young people as they go through the school system is if you fail at this, you can always go into one of the trade areas. And that's not the case anymore. One of the big things that the people in industry are saying is we pay a darn good wage. Like a good tool maker can make $40,000, $50,000 a year. And to make that wage, we want some people that have some ability to learn. And that's what they're looking for. They're looking for bright, aggressive young people.
how's your luck been so far in finding these people and getting them into these
It's
trades?
very slow to change. Very slow to change. Everybody wants to be a doctor, a lawyer, or an accountant.
And what are the doctors and lawyers and accountants going to do when there are too many of them? Come over to you at the IRC or
Well,
for retraining? Or
funny enough, a lot of people that we have go through programs have either started off at the university level and realized it wasn't really what they wanted to get into and had no idea of the opportunities that were offered at the college.
Is there some sort of bias in society, do you think? Is there, and I don't want to use the word stigma, but an image? You know, here's the tool maker, here's the mold maker, here's the millwright.
Oh, and just from the different events that I've been at, as soon as a parent comes up to you and says, guess what my son wants to do? What's that? He wants to become a skilled tradesman. There's a stigma attached to that, and it shouldn't be. Like that craft or that industry itself is a very highly specialized, and it's a form of art, and that's really what you have to look at. But in looking at the future, the one thing that the college has said is get out there, work with a brand new steering committee, take a look at what the opportunities are, and put together some partnerships. And the one thing they're stressing is we need to form partnerships with industry. We can't afford to buy a lot of this fancy equipment, but the industries that have it, form those links with them, and conduct training programs either in-house within that industry for the students that are at the college as well as the people in that plant, and perform those marriages, bring those people closer together to train for the future occupations.
So let's pursue this just a little bit. How are you seeking out these partnerships? How are you seeking out these new members of your steering committee?
Well, the first part is I'm working with a fellow from our board who is an industry representative. We're taking a look at who the leaders are in the industry within the industrial and manufacturing sector and the types of services that they represent in bringing their expertise to the college and help us go through a visioning process to find out what the future holds.
Any reticence on the part of people to work with the college?
Not at all. Not at all.
Great. Great. They're willing to come and offer their time. Well, if we're going to use this spot right now to throw in a little commercial, do they get in touch with you? Do they call the president? Do they drive out and sign up? What do they do?
We're in the new role that I'm supposed to perform for the college, and I say supposed to. We're still working through it. It's a corporate role. I have to keep in mind our friends in Kent and Lambton County as well,
You bet.
but working mainly with our Thames campus through Paul Bockwell. So anybody that we can talk to, we want to have the conversation with them about the future And then the striking of this new steering committee is something within the next 2 months that I have to fulfill for the college.
You talk about our commitment to Essex-Kent County, and that basically is where the community college is located, and that's who we serve. But how about your graduates? Have they gone further afield? Are they needed anywhere else in Canada?
I think for all the campuses that the college have, they receive requests from across this province because there is such a shortage of skilled tradespeople in all fields.
Across Canada?
Across Canada.
So somebody coming into the program, if they want to look for work in British Columbia, the Yukon, whatever.
We've had students from the Yukon, British Columbia, the Northwest Territories come down and take training programs here at St. Clair College, the main campus, Chatham, and at the Industrial Resource Center. They found out about the programs, they come down, they take them, and they go back, and we've had employers from those provinces call and ask, can they hire more people?
Well, talking about links, are there any links that far afield?
Probably more so through the different associations. Like the Refrigeration Group has an association that's North American wide. The Windsor Alliance of Mold Makers that we spoke about earlier are linked across this world in a global competition. With their trade show that they're bringing in October of '91, they want to expose the world to the specialty that they have right here in Windsor. The Society of Manufacturing Engineers. We have a very strong contingent in the Windsor, Essex, and Kent area that plays a very big part within the Society of Manufacturing Engineers.
City of Windsor, where are they in this? They just completed a study on economic future and areas we should be going into. Where are they in all of this?
They're currently taking a look at the diversification that the city can get involved with, but it still comes back to the core. The manufacturing segment is the fabric or the background of this whole city and this county, and as well as Kent County.
Well, that is great. And Dan, it's been a pleasure having you on. I know that the program there is going to expand, going to do great things. Perhaps you'll come back sometime and we can talk about some other facets of your job. Though you tell me you don't do an awful lot. I can't believe that. I think you probably do a great deal.
Oh, and it's been a pleasure, and I'd be glad to come back anytime.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, another word, another public announcement, whatever we have for you.
At the Windsor Regional Cancer Center, you're more than a patient, you're a friend. Our staff have the training and experience to help you deal with cancer, both emotionally and physically. We're more than machines and technology. We're people. People who care about you and how you're feeling. The Windsor Regional Cancer Center, it's here for you.
Welcome back. We were talking to Dan White, the General Manager of the Industrial Resource Center, and now we're fortunate enough to have one of his professors, a Mr. Kevin Hodson, and a former student of his, Barb Irving. Kevin, what program are you teaching in?
Well, last year we did a pilot program that had never been run before. It was for women in the trade, women only, which made it somewhat of a novelty. They were apprenticed as well, which is something that had never been done before. So.
And what areas did you teach them in? Machine?
Yeah, metal machining, which would stand them in good stead for one of three regulated trades, which will be industrial general machinist will be one of them, tool and die making, another one will be mold making.
And so, Barb, you are a graduate of this program. One of the first graduating class?
Yes.
How many were there?
13 of us.
And you're all working?
No, only 4 from the class have been hired so far.
Kevin, what happened?
I really don't know.
Barb, what happened?
Well, there doesn't seem to be a lot of awareness in the industry of our program, and on the other side of that, there seems to be a fair bit of resistance to women in the industry.
This is an interesting story. When you started this program, did industry ask you to get something going for women, or was this something the college thought was a good idea?
Well, I think it was done by more than the college. It was an apprenticeship branch incentive. Of course, they must have researched it beforehand, and we were quite confident that there was a place for women there.
This is the province of Ontario.
Yeah, and
came out of Toronto.
we knew that there would probably be some sort of resistance because women in the trade is a little bit of a novelty even now. We really never expected to have it quite be quite so tough as what it was to get.
Yeah,
to
this
the
is
place.
strange. Now, I just got through talking with Dan a few moments ago. You were in the studio, you heard his comments, and he said that the trades were crying for skilled workers, that there were openings from here to British Columbia. Of course, you may not want to go to British Columbia, so what's the matter with here? How many, let's put it right on the table, how many shops have you been to? How many applications have you sent out?
I've sent out in excess of 100 resumes.
100 resumes in Windsor, Essex, Kent County.
Mhm.
Any interviews, any
I've
response
had
at all?
2 interviews,
2 interviews.
but nothing profitable.
Now, the trades aren't the image that we used to have. I don't think there's all the heavy lifting and hauling. I don't think there's the kind of, I could be wrong, but the kind of strength output needed that they used to claim was necessary. Is there, Kevin?
No, I wouldn't say that there ever really was. I served my apprenticeship in heavy engineering, handling work up to 70 tons. I'm not a big guy, never was.
Okay,
You know.
up to 70 tons.
A lot of the
Exactly
girls.
how do you get that into the air, Kevin?
Well, you got equipment for that.
Oh, you got equipment for that.
It's part of the trade, learning how to use the equipment,
Okay.
rigging equipment.
All right, well, let's get back then to the issue. There's no job for you. Are you given reasons?
Yeah, some really kind of interesting ones. My favorite one is we don't have washroom facilities for women. I have no idea what their secretaries use for facilities, but and another one is, why do you want to get into this? You'll get dirty. You know, so that's a good one too. Or I had a woman in here before, and she just caused a lot of trouble.
Caused a lot of trouble. But you really feel strongly about this. You're going to pursue this?
Oh, I think it's just made me more determined.
Well, let's look at it from a legal point of view, from a point of view of human rights. Isn't there something here that says there's a problem if I deliberately don't hire someone if they're a woman, Kevin?
I'm not too familiar with the laws because I'm not really a lawyer, but there are certain ways I believe that the discrimination can be filed, but it's not really a good idea to file those kind of suits. I don't think that would help our purpose.
Oh, I'm not looking for suits or anything of that nature. I don't think we want to get into that. It just is a matter of comparison. Do your men graduates have the same problems?
Usually no. Usually the women that have been in our programs before, the Industrial General Machinist program, the Industrial Maintenance Mechanic program, they've all had women in them, but just not a women-only program like this. We've never really had too much problem placing them in the past. I think a lot of it is not really so much discrimination as the fact that the industry is down in, especially in the machine tool industry in Windsor at the moment, and we're expecting that when it does pick up, they're going to be clamoring for some people, and we just hope that they're going to take a look at some of these graduates.
Let's talk about the program itself. What did you learn to do while you were in the center, working with Kevin?
Okay, we learned lathe operation, mill, vertical and horizontal bandsaw, surface grinding, cylindrical grinding, CNC, blueprint reading, technical math.
And you feel competent with all of that. What did you do beforehand?
Okay, I was a dental technician before I started in the program.
And were you employed as a dental technician?
Yes, I was.
What ever brought about this need for a career change?
Money.
Money.
Yeah.
You heard about some of those salaries that were quoted in the first part of the show and
Yeah,
decided you
that's-
want some of the action.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's great. I wish something would happen. Down the road, are we going to do the program again?
Yeah, we're going to be running another one the 5th of November, I believe, is the start date.
And what do you think the enrollment's going to be? Are you looking for more than you had the first time around?
No, I believe it'll be about the same size of a class.
And Province of Ontario supports this?
No, not this time.
This time we're running it
This
on
is going
our
to be a CEC back program.
CEC, what's that now?
The Canada Employment Centre.
Okay, they back the program, send you the students?
I believe that's what's going to happen.
Where would some women go if they were interested in this program to get
Down
information
to the
on it?
CEC office in either downtown or on the east side.
Are you looking for any special qualifications?
No, last time we were looking for grade 10, and we can build on that. If you have grade 12, it's better, but grade 10 is the entry level.
Okay, and so
There's no experience necessary because the program does start right from scratch.
okay, and so far you've been happy with the level that they've come in with. Your students, the last group was a pretty sharp group, was it? Huh?
Oh, we sure were.
I wouldn't expect any other answer, would I? I mean, it'd be foolish to say that you weren't. Now, down the road, in terms of some of the programs, I know the director mentioned, the general manager there mentioned that he was looking to the future to develop links with industry. You've worked in the industry.
Oh yeah.
Now you've taught. What links would you like to see?
What?
Links with the industry. Where would you like to see more cooperation, more things happening?
Well, we've got a pretty good system set up with industry now, with the advisory committees and the staff at the IRC, and I'm sure the staff down here at the college are probably on pretty good terms with industry. We keep close contact with local employers. We keep good conversations so that we can find out what some of their needs are.
So that's how you keep up? That's how
in
you
a lot of ways.
Keep current?
And we also have, sometimes we do professional development where, we actually go into a plant for a week or so and pick up and keep ourselves
Well, the reason I
abreast.
ask that is a student coming in then will feel comfortable that what they're getting from you is up to date. It's more or less the state of the art in terms of the training, the state of the art in terms of what they're going to be asked for.
Well, it's as much as we can do it, As was said earlier in the program, we can't always afford the type of equipment that the plants can. But we do have access to get out into some of the plants and use it and get some experience on it.
Well,
For
great.
example, when I first started, like a CNC was a new thing, and I'd never done it in my apprenticeship. But that's how I learned it, by going into one of the plants, and some of the local people taught me.
Barb, what would you say to all that? You've been through the program now. If you were going to give us some advice at the college, you're a graduate, aside from go find you a job, what would you like us to do?
I think the program is fantastic, and I think it should go ahead just as it is. It requires an awful lot of work, a great deal of dedication, but I think it's worth it.
Thank you, Barb. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you.